So, I'm not usually one for public speaking, so if this sounds, like I'm rambling a little bit, or if it sounds really awkward, just, roll with it and laugh. I won't take offense. But going into this retreat, there was a lot that was going on with me personally over the course of the past year and a half, plus maybe a little bit more, and just over the course of the events of tonight, I told myself going into tonight that I would not get emotional, and that failed miserably earlier. I wrote something, give or take about a year ago, and it was just basically my story, and it was the first time when I really, was able to, I guess, express it, and, get it off my chest in a way. So I wanted to share that with you guys in hopes that, you guys will be able to take something away from it. Let me tell you the story in the form of a poem. You see a real funny looking guy and you don't really know him. You see me having fun, talking with friends, wishing times like these never had an end. But there are things that no one would know, most of which I never really show. Don't think that what you see is how life has always been, when in reality it was a life full of sin. High school was pride and arrogance, screw everyone else, keep that GPA high and keep pushing yourself. Soccer, basketball, and track, I felt like nothing could hold me back. Growing up an athlete has been a huge part of my life, with encouragement and inspiration from my dad and his amazing wife. I never cared for my high school peers. Where they were going in life was most likely a keg of beer. Honors, AP courses, and sports were what consumed my time, while college and the real world were always on my mind. Face like stone, showing almost no expression, but what no one knew is there was sometimes depression. Just a kid, eating alone, no one to talk to with little meat on his bones. Tried to fit in, but sometimes seen as an outcast. I knew then that I wanted out fast. Classes and sports by day, homework by night. I told myself the college thing would be alright. I arrived on campus and knew success would take time because this little freshman was scared out of his mind. I got all moved in and the floor parties were on. I guess that didn't take long. Parties had never really been my thing. I usually stayed in and told friends if I needed to make my phone ring. As the days went forward, I didn't talk much, unlike everyone else, drinking and smoking and such. Stayed in and did my work like a good little schoolboy, until people began to play with me like I was their toy. While asleep, they poured urine under my door. As expected, the next night, they came back and poured more. Next came notes, not one, but two. One took shots at my family, my brother and mom too. Last in the night was eggs thrown out my window. I confronted them and said, how far do you want to go? What message were they trying to send me? Suddenly I had an entire building against me. I was afraid to leave my own room, constantly felt like I was in a small tomb. So why in the world do I feel so alone? Nobody but me, I'm on my own. I found myself saying, God, please change their heart. All this hatred at one time is tearing me apart. I was never looking for trouble, just for blessings. But ever since they came along, I was constantly stressing. They thought their reputation would remain intact. I figured I'd take it up with the police and see how many people would have their back. A hearing was scheduled, and I look forward to the day where I see each and every one of them walk away. It ended, and everything felt great. I didn't think then that there was much to hate. Got a call from the conduct office saying they lost the tape. Needless to say, I was truly irate. With another rescheduled and my dad at my side, I felt for the first time a UD, alive. I told the hearing officer that the charges could be dropped, but keep the restraining order. When it came to my wrath, the guy was on the border. In that dorm, I had an undeserved rep. After a semester of being treated like a staircase, I knew it was time to step. So I Jay-Z'd that dorm and was on to the next one. Thank you. Hoping that the new dorm would bring better people than this one. Every weekend that spring, my fridge was always full, but not exactly of soda and Red Bull. The weekends were great, where any lady just seemed nice and was looking for a date. My friends and me drinking whatchamacallit. It got to the point where people thought I was an alcoholic. Times I went to class and just couldn't wait to get back to the dorm and be drunk by 8. I went 5 days in a row stumbling on my feet. I woke up fine every morning, ready to repeat. This raised a red flag. There were times when people lost track of how much I had. I went about it pretending that everything's okay. I'd say drinking's fine because I would stop someday. Finals ended, and I made sure a full bottle was done. Quite the end to year number 1. Sophomore year came. I'm glad I got the party out. My social life, however, I thought was in doubt. Kickball game was held, and many students came, including one guy by the name of Bane. Yeah. Shout out to Bane Manley back at UD. In the following weeks, we continued to meet. And I couldn't help but notice how this guy loved to preach. We played ping pong for hours on end. Again, and again, and again. He told me of InterVarsity and what it was about. And was encouraging me that it's something to check out. There were friends that I knew from the year before. I tried to be optimistic and hope there'd be more. As the days went forward, things got more intense, but at the same time, some of it started to make a little sense. I acquired close friends left and right, thinking, you know what, this is alright. Springtime came and I was ready to go. But a life changer came. Uh-oh. I blew up on my dad out of frustration, leaving him hurt and me wanting a permanent vacation from everyone, especially my family. I then felt like there was no one at that time that could stand me. The next night, I met with my friend Ryan. When I say I took a bullet for you, you know I'm not lying. I told him everything despite it being hard. And then I saw the JJP card. I asked if he was going. He said, I'll go if you go. Philadelphia born and raised. So. And then I started talking like a man possessed. I'm sure you guys know what probably came next. It all hit me right then and there. I was God's puppet and didn't have a care. I realized how great God was just now, and there was me with my head stuck in the ground. My heart was moved to speak, and so I did. A confession of guilt and running by a cowardly kid. JJP came, the experience pristine. The best part, Ryan Jones playing the tambourine. I have photographic proof. A great realization that I came to. Everything belongs to God and we're just strangers passing through. Today's different. The first 2 years didn't count. Year 1 I was liquored up, year 2 I was flushing it out. Today's there's a passion and energy that I can't go without. God murdered his baby boy. Seeing his creation love him brought him overwhelming joy. We claim to understand this, but do we live like we do? Or do we live like the concept of hell cannot be true? This isn't attacking you. It's a reflection of myself. I had my dance with the dark one. I embodied sin itself. My whole life I thought I was living proof that being stupid and clumsy was far from the truth. God's grace is forever washing over me. Proof? Tomorrow makes 3 months, 2 weeks, and 1 sober me. Sometimes I'll admit it takes a lot to get through to me. But Psalm 56:11 did. In God I've put my trust. What can man do to me?